Hi, Jim Ziegler, and this is part of the Dawg Pound. Okay, you might notice Jennifer Briggs is feeling a little under the weather,
She's
and
sick.
and I hear that Max Zanon's in the air. He's traveling, so he's not going to be here either. But as it turns out, I've got these two wonderful women with me today, some of the brightest women in the car business, starting with the Duchess of Productivity herself, April Simmons. Hi, kid.
Hey Tim, I just noticed this. We're all in blue today too, so it's
We
going to
didn't
be
even plan
one of
that.
those days. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm kind
Oh,
of excited. Sometimes these conversations are the best because we just see where they go and have some fun. So love to see people jump on in with us and ask some questions and let's just have a good old fun conversation.
now I
Love that.
sent Jim Shorkey a link to be on the show, but I see he's in the audience.
Jim Shorkey, get on
Jim,
our
you could
show.
you could click that link and get on the show, Jim. Love
I
to
would
have
love
you.
that. We would love for you to join us.
Yeah, and the queen of BDC,
Hi.
one of the most brilliant women in the car business, intergalactic queen, my friend Bobbie Herron.
I like the intergalactic part. I'm going to start utilizing that immediately. Watch my LinkedIn profile. Over. Yes, well, it's nice to see everybody.
Yeah,
I'm surprised we're missing Max. I know Jennifer's sick, but Shorkey could jump right in.
yeah. Well, sure. I gave Shorkey the link. But he's in the audience, but yeah, he was invited to be on the show with us. So I hope he got that.
James, if you can't join us today, please let's touch base. We would really love for you to be on.
Absolutely. Now, next week we've got Jane DeHaven and her daughter Lizzie with a great story about how they came into the dealer principal being. Oh, there he is
Yes,
himself.
look
Look
at
at this.
you.
Okay, he's got to get adjusted. I see the top of your head, Jim.
Challenge accepted. I like it.
Yeah, there you go. How you doing, Jim?
He's probably getting
Okay.
attached to audio right now.
He's going to have to unmute his audio for sure.
Yeah, we can help him with that. Look, this is how it works, right?
Oh, we've
I
got
love it. He's phone to friend.
Oh, he's got
That is
assistance.
great.
Yes.
Okay, Jim's got assistance here. We're going to get this. We're going to get this.
Well,
Okay.
while Jim's getting hooked
Okay.
up, I'm super excited for them to join the show next week too. And I wish I'm not going to be on next week. I'll be in the air flying to Women in Automotive, but I wish I was going to be on for that show. I love that they're attending.
Women
And I'm
in
at my
women in
I'm
automotive. What's that conference about?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You know, Women in Automotive is close to my heart. You can get details at womeninoautomotive.com or at wiasocial.com, either one. But it's next week. We're doing some huge promos. So I've told everybody if the only reason that you're not attending is the cost, reach out to me and let me help you with that. But it's our 10-year anniversary.
They ought to change it to girls in the car business, huh?
Oh my goodness, whatever. You know what I love about it though? We actually learned early on, and I guess I was surprised in the beginning. It's our 10-year anniversary. And we call it Women in Automotive, but it's not just for women. It's for women and the men who support, lead, champion, change, mentor, drive them. Some of the most brilliant men I know in the car industry have attended, are supportive of it. And you know, it's a lot about education. It's about a lot about empowerment and the differences and inspiration. But
Well, you
it
know,
is
girls can't sell cars.
I close deals in heels. I don't know what you're talking about. but you know, it's not just a leadership conference, it's educational, but it is the most inspiring one. And I'm on the board and it's close to my heart, but I'm on the board because the motives are pure and right. And there's so many conferences that give out the education when it comes to all the things that we do, but don't also give some of the balance and lift. So like I'm presenting Life in Overdrive, which is a balance, not how do you balance home and life? Because I hate it when people say like, how do you do that when you have kids? Like, I don't know, how do you do it when you have kids? Instead, it's a couple different techniques, and I'll be live streaming my session. So if anybody's not attending and would like to, hit me up in the messages and I'll make sure that you get it. Yeah. Super excited.
Well, today's show is about the crisis, the Armageddon in the car business. Inventory is stacking up. EVs aren't selling. The manufacturers are deluded. They believe that affordability is the problem. Affordability is not the problem. The EVs, the public has wholesale rejected EVs. They don't want them. They're not going to buy them at any price. And making cheap EVs is just going to become a special finance car for people with distressed credit. Let's see if we can get Jim Shorkey on now.
Am I in?
You're in. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing very, very well. We just did our podcast, and it's very interesting. But it's so great to be here with you. Wonderful. Well, I would say gentlemen. I think that's a reach. I'm sorry about that, but the wonderful ladies and the pseudo gentlemen.
Oh, pseudo gentlemen. Well, Jim, were you the founder of the Shorkey dealership group, or were you the second in line?
Yeah, I was second in line. My father founded. This is our 50th year. My father founded the company in 1974, and I was a high school senior at the time. And I was original janitor at the dealership, and it went on from there. And my dad died very suddenly on March 24th, 1996, and that left me the heir apparent. If I was half as smart as I thought I was when my dad died, I would have been pretty damn smart.
Like Prince Harry, right?
What's that?
You were like Prince Harry.
Exactly. But yeah, I didn't do so good. I was bankruptcy imminent 2 years later, so things didn't go so hot after my dad died. Yeah. But I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
So now the third's running the operation.
Yeah. Well, it's a team effort. It's my daughter Katie and my son Jim Shorkey III and my other son Russell James and my other son Daniel James and then my brother Russell. It's an executive team running the operation. They all have their functions and they work very well together as a team. So yeah, they're running the deal right now. Yeah.
Well, I sort of met you through my friend Mike Engel.
Oh yeah, Mike. Mike is he's quite a guy. Quite a guy.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the bow tie guy.
Yep.
Absolutely. Do you know my friend April Simmons over here?
I don't. Well, maybe. Well, from these shows, I do. Yes, but I don't know that we ever met directly. April, I don't say that I know, but then again, I'm an old, worn-out car salesman. According to car years, I'm about 182. I think I told Jim. So they're car years, like dog years, 7 years. So.
Yep.
Okay.
I was 38 years in the automobile business, and I love the car business. I just love it. But,
yeah, you and me both, my friend. Super nice to meet you. Actually, just because I like to know about people, I went to your site. Your group site looks pretty good. I got to give you some props there, and it looks like we are living very much the same world. Like the brands that you have are very similar to us. So it looks like you're the Horn group in Pittsburgh, or we're the Shorkey group in Arizona, but very similar. Yeah. Very similar. So
she's in Phoenix, Arizona today. She's the director of marketing for 14 dealerships.
Yeah. Well, Phoenix is a wonderful place. I love Arizona. I really do. Wonderful place.
Wonderful place.
Everyone's decided it's wonderful. So now I'm probably going to have to get out.
I've always felt that I'm a big fan of the desert, believe it or not. I love the desert, and the desert's a cool place. And so many people disparage the desert, not really experiencing it. It's a wonderful place. I love the desert. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Love it.
Well, you got the book I sent you. Have you had?
I did. Well, I perused it, but I'm working on this stroke recovery very aggressively, and that has nothing to do with the car business. But I'm using the same things that I used to build the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group. I'm using those ideas to build the Jim Shorkey body back, and so I'm very deeply involved with this idea. My idea that I got from Napoleon Hill of Think and Grow Rich genre is seek expert counsel. Find somebody who's smarter than you, who's done what you want to do, and have a conversation. And that somebody would be.
That's why.
That's exactly right. Well, don't joke about that. That's absolutely the case. There's if you're the smartest guy in the room, if you're the smartest girl in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to get out and get around amongst a bunch of people that are way better than you doing what you want to do. And that's where the juice is. That's where you move it. So, I'm on here. I'm not even involved in the car business anymore. I'm looking to learn. I'm here to learn. I am.
Yeah. The car business, I tried to retire several times, but Debbie did, but I didn't.
Yeah.
You know,
I did. I walked away. My kids own and operate the group independent of myself. I have no ownership interest whatsoever. And I had so much help along the way with the mentors, the Jim Zieglers of the world type people, that I just felt a great deal of debt to society, in that these mentors, they just really gave me great advice. And so I went to work on that advice, and that's the history of the Jim Crooked Family Auto Group. You can witness it yourself by looking it up. And I felt in my heart of hearts that someday I needed to share this message with the world. If I took this message to the grave with me, I thought I would be a very selfish person. So I did, and I launched a company called Results from Thinking. The idea being results are the name of the game, and how do we get there? How do we get to the results that we want? And so I've done an incredible amount of study. So we have this program called Rethink You 2.0. If it's your thinking that got you to where you're at right now, if you don't like where you're at right now, the same thinking is going to keep you there. So you got to change your thinking, hence Rethink You 2.0. And so we're really serious about this idea of being mentors to the world at large. So that's what I'm doing now.
What we're
And no
talking
better
about
time,
today,
Jim, right? Like
What's that again?
no better time than right now for that to be the key front initiative. Because as we're seeing, this transition from, making good money on cars, and cars are fairly easy to sell, to now having an epidemic of sales staff and sales managers ill-equipped to mentally get over that block of, hey, I have to work harder to, sell more cars and do these things. What a great time to have that be the forefront of your initiative. So kudos to you for that, because I have found the hardest thing right now is not teaching people how to sell cars. The hardest thing is switching the mindset of, not having this woe is me mentality, or this, just bring me my cheese, right? I love Who Moved My Cheese. It's one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's a great one, yeah.
April, the truth of the matter is most managers today in the car business were not in the car business before the pandemic. They don't know how to now that rebates are back, stair steps are back, all of a sudden inventory stacking up. EVs, you can't give an EV away, make a profit on it. I mean, incredible, except in California, but even those people are down. Tesla has discounted their cars. Hertz is unloading them. It's incredible.
Well, let me give you an idea about that. What if this is true? What if this is true? What if what I'm going to say next is true? Just ponder that before you respond. Things get better when Jim Shorkey gets better. This is the message we need to get into our people's heads. If you don't like your results, it's time to do a pivot, P-I-V-O-T. And, it's the age-old thing. We've heard it a million times. If you keep on doing, Jim, you probably coined this. If you keep on doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting. Come on, we all know this. But yet we stick to our guns like, well, this is not the way we did it yesterday. I don't give a shit about yesterday. That doesn't apply to today. So we got to pivot. And so in that pivot is where the opportunity is. And if you want to make a lot of money, you're in the right place at the right time. Believe it or not, you're in the right place at the right time. Because what happens when we get adversity, the vast majority of our competition, they give up and they go home. And so if you started the adversity with, let's say you started the adversity with 10 competitors, let's say that's the number. And out of those 10, I guarantee you 5 are going to give up. Well, you're down to 5 competitors. It gets easier to sell cars. All you got to do is show up and have a good presentation. And well, let's face it, we got to train our people. We got to, on what it is we want them to do and what the procedures are and the processes and whatnot. But the fact is that it's not a question of, the bottom line is in tough times, the competition, they just give up. They give up. And like you said, it is woe is me. Well, it ain't woe is Jim Shorkey. No way. No way. I'm going to rally. I'm going to kick your ass. You don't have a chance around me. No way. We're going to do it.
Unless it's me.
You wouldn't.
Jim versus Jim battle.
Jim, you wouldn't have a chance against me. You wouldn't have a chance. I would sell your socks off. You wouldn't have a chance.
You believe that, don't you?
What's that?
You believe that, don't you?
No, I don't believe that. I know it. There's a difference.
Okay.
I know that when I'm up 40 stories, if I jump off, I know I'm going to die. I don't believe I'm going to die. I know it. And I know if you and I go head to head, I will crush you. I know it.
This is turning out to be the best show ever.
Here we are, two old farts going at each other.
Yeah.
Which I love. Jim versus Jim. I'm already selling tickets. I'm already selling.
Remember, we got to talk car. We got to talk dog years here, right? So, Jim's actually, we're the same age, aren't we, Jim?
I'm 77.
Oh, are you really? Wow, you look great, brother. I'm 67, but in dog years, he's about 257 and I'm about 204, whatever it is, in car years. I mean, it's like, but no, we're just two old dogs, man. Two worn out old car dogs. That's all we are. But you know what?
I just rejoined the National Speakers Association.
I know you did, but you know what? Don't take us on. I told Jim, we were texting back and forth. I said, you grab a tiger by the tail. You better be careful because that tiger is going to freaking get a hold of you. And so don't grab a tiger by the tail. Bad idea.
Now, don't you guys find, and this is something that I've been really passionate about and trying to help this next generation. So I mean, what is 26 times 7? That's my dog years. That being said, really, when I look back at my past in the business, the tough times are what made me strong today.
No question.
It wasn't the easy times, it was the tough times. And so while a lot of staff right now are looking at this as a woe is me, I like to look at it as this is the opportunity to get better. This is really your growth opportunity. And if you take that opportunity right now, you are the people that 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now are the people sitting here having, tighter conversations, right? So if you want to really, truly grow and be better and make, the best money possible, the key to that is to look at challenge as an opportunity, not a problem.
No, there's no question. You're 100% right. The opportunity is in the challenges. The opportunity is in the adversity. The opportunity is in the fact that everybody else just gives up and does the woe is me thing. It's called, I don't know if you're familiar with this. This is a psychology terminology, but the internal locus of control versus the external locus of control. The internal locus of control basically states that everything is my fault. If there's a recession, it's my fault. Now, I know it's not my fault, but I take it that way. Mm-hmm. And so rather than, by the way, the versus the blame game, the victim game. So when there's a recession, I'm licking I've got my hands up, I'm rubbing my hands going, I'm excited because I'm going to kill it. I know I am because I know most everybody else is going to give up. And there's opportunity out there. It's like, I remember, back in the Great Recession, which was the worst recession since the Great Depression, and President Obama was the president at the time, which had nothing to do with him, and massive problems. Well, the new car market at that time, and I think I'm right about this, went from 16 million cars a year down to 12 million cars per year. Mm-hmm. And I told my team, I say, hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to talk about the 4 million that aren't here. We're going to talk about the 12 million who are. And guess what we're going to do here? We're going to take market share from him, her, them. We're going to take market share. We're going to be aggressive. So we actually upped our advertising. We upped our inventories. We upped our training. We upped everything we could up. We upped, and we killed it. We made more money during the Great Recession than ever in the history of the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group. That is a fact.
Jim. What was really happened was kind of interesting. Is I was consulting the Mark Heights Group in Phoenix, Arizona. Excuse me, Norman, Oklahoma. Norman, Oklahoma. He started his dealership with General Motors in 2008.
Oh wow!
Which was the beginning of the Great Recession. So, and he built a Chevrolet dealership, and I was consulting him at the time. We got up to 800 units a month.
Wow!
He took that dealership, and that was at $2,800 a car, which was good numbers in those days. At $2,800 a car. So he built this mammoth dealership. He had an arena where the people in the community could actually use their arena for events. Wow. He had conference rooms where the Shriners, the Lions, the Kiwanis could have their meetings. He built a fish tank on one wall that was, I don't know how million gallons, big ass fish tank. I mean, it was beautiful. And he continued to sell 800 units a month. And General Motors under Beatty, Alan Beatty, which, excuse me, in my opinion, was a blithering idiot. That's my opinion, based on facts. But anyway, Alan Beatty came in and said, "You got to build it to General Motors standards.
Yeah.
You got to put the little blue sign on the front." He said, "Shit, I'm selling 800 units a month." They made him sell the dealership, and the subsequent owner is sitting there at about 200 units today. But General Motors standardized the dealership.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I probably, me being Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group, I would have done exactly what they told me to do. I really would have. I just don't see the point, and I'm not going to let happen what happened. I'm just not. And so that little bit of blue paint, the blue sign, I really was very stickler on, okay, what do you want? Is that what you want? Okay, let's go ahead and do it. But we had to do we did the training, we did the processes, and we had our ideas. And I don't know, that's a tough one. I don't know how to comment on that other than, it sounds like it was a pretty damn profitable operation to let slide. What's that?
It was what works as opposed to what doesn't.
Well, I understand that, but the fact is, I'm not going to cut my nose off to spite my face. So I politely disagree with this fella, and that I would have painted a damn sign. I'm not going to do that. You can't have that stop sign out there. Okay, gone. See ya. You know, I like that stop sign. Who gives a shit? I'm here to sell cars, man. I'm here to sell. I don't care about any of that.
I like you. This is why I like
both of you bring up a point that I think is really relevant, which is control your controllables, right? So I think at the end of the day, whether you're a DP who has to like do things because the OEM mandates it, or you're a general manager who your DP says you have to do things a certain way, or you're a sales manager who your general manager says you have to do things a certain way. All those things, we like to say it's not my fault because it's not my decision. At the end of the day, like you said, Jim, I decide for April. I decide for April Simmons what I'm going to do today. And ultimately, during 2008, you know, we got hit really hard in Arizona, really hard. Like we went from, you know, my team was we had 5 teams. I was at a Toyota store at the time. We had 5 teams. Overnight, we went down to 2. Overnight, we went from my team getting, you know, 3, 4, 5 ups a day per person to 2 ups for the store for the whole day. And you're right. Most stores went, we're done, right? People were quitting and nobody wanted to do it anymore. And they were going to go work at Circle K or whatever the case may be. And I said, well, time out. Let's take this as an opportunity, because for me, failure wasn't an option. Like I wasn't going to go work at Circle K. So we had to figure this thing out. And I really did different things. We worked together with my team to say, hey, you might be the best at product, but you might be the best at building rapport. Let's work together and let's take a half deal, because a half deal is better than no deal. Let's work as a team. Let's educate each other. Let's go talk to the service customers, because we all know nobody would do that. But now let's do it. Let's actually give it a go. And what we found on the end and the other side of this, by working together, not only were we successful during the downtime, we were just as successful as we were before it, but we took skills that catapulted us to the top on the other side of it, because we were already doing the things that nobody else is willing to do. So a lot of times the worst part of the mentality that I see is that I don't control this because somebody else makes the decision. That's where I call BS. You may not control everything. I may not control that it's 110 degrees, but what I do control is what I can, right?
Well, yeah, and on top of that, you don't control the decision. You don't. But, big but, you do control your reaction to the decision. And so your job is, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever heard a story about Bill Walton when they won the national championship. UCLA Bruins won the national championship. He's the MVP. He's a rock star, arguably the greatest college basketball player ever. You can make that argument. And so John Wooden, who was a wonderful human being, he had a policy, no hair, no facial hair, no hair over the years. And Walton said, MVP of the national championship, comes back to fall ball. They're practicing, shooting around, all that. And he was a hippie. He's got a beard, long red hair. And John Wooden says, and John Wooden, by the way, never cursed, never raised his voice. That was his policy. So he says, Bill Walton. He says, Bill, can I get a minute with you? And Bill says, he comes over. He says, Coach, I know what you're going to say. He said, well, I want to tell you, it's America, land of the free. It's my face. It's my beard. It's my hair. And I can wear my hair however I want. And John Wooden looked him right in the eye and says, you know what, Bill, you're right. It is your face. It is your hair. It is America. It is the land of the free. We're going to miss you. Does that give you the chills? What do you think Bill Walton did? Greatest basketball player ever.
Just a little bit. You know, I have a similar.
He tore across campus, found the first barber shop, threw his bike down, said, cut it off. Cut it all off. He cut his hair. And that's a great story. So we have to conform to the executive leadership of our team and not be an asshole about it. I mean, really, we need to say, okay, well, what is this message here? I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but what's the best version of me that can execute on this? Because it is important. And so it's not a question of, you don't have the decision. You're right. But you do have control over your reaction to said decision. And when you take that decision and go out and start poor mouthing and complaining and bitching and moaning like Jim Ziegler does all the time, well, then the whole thing crashes down. If I didn't jab you, you'd think something was wrong. I got to freaking nail you every chance I can. No, Jim knows what I'm saying. Jim's a team builder. Jim understands team. And if we're going to take every single decision and make a big deal about it, guess what? You better start looking for a job right now because you're not going to have a job too long. You're not.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Jim's over there like, I'm chomping at the bit. What do you got? Jim?
What do you got? I was looking at the side screen on Melissa Skinner's laughing at Shorky over there on the sidebar. So,
because it's fun.
I'm listening to all Shorky's insults. I'm just filing them away here because I'm the best there ever was, the best there ever will be, the best there is. I mean, excuse me.
Second best. We'll legislate. Hey, if you're the best or second best, you know what? Seriously, there is a slice of life called good enough. And close enough is good enough. It really is. So, there can only be one best, but there's a lot of almost guys and girls, and that's okay. If I'm almost as good as Jim Ziegler, that's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. I don't have to be better than Jim Ziegler.
But I got to tell you,
I need to be close. Though, and as long as I'm close, I'm okay.
I'm not a sales trainer.
I am.
I'm a management trainer. Because
I'm both.
There's a whole lot of sales trainers out there that aren't qualified to be sales trainers right now. I mean,
I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them.
Pocket full of Facebook credentials, and they're interviewing each other.
Yeah. Well, we have to. First of all, we have to have a process, and it's got to be well tested and well documented. And so, assuming we have that process, then we have to. The underlying theme of our teachings are, I think it's Maimonides is how you say it, but give a man a fish, give a woman a fish, she eats for a day. Teach her how to fish, she eats for a lifetime. That's the whole idea behind what we do. So we know our sales process works. We have no doubt in our minds about that. So what we got to do is get this gal or this guy to do the process. And when they fail, we know it's indicative of the fact that they're not doing the process. So we sit them down and say, okay, what part of this don't you understand? And, well, no, you're not doing this. We need to have a proper greeting. We need to have a proper qualifying process. We need to have a proper hood and trunk presentation, and a proper demonstration ride, and a proper service walk, and a proper why buy here presentation, and on and on and on and on. And we have to put all this into
Jim. It's not the salespeople. It's the management.
No shit. But at the end of the day, it is the salespeople that aren't doing the process. And if they're not doing the process, Jim, whose fault is it that they're not doing the process?
Well, there you go. Excuse me.
It's the manager's fault, and it's the owner's fault. And the owner needs to say, wait a second, Mr. Manager, are we going to do this or not? And if we're not, then you need to find someplace else to work, because this is not the way we're going to run it.
In 1981, my dealer, Dennis McNamara, and I'm top salesman, he calls me up to the Oval Office, and he says, Jim, what's wrong with the store? And I said, first of all, you need to roll up your damn monogram cufflinks and get down there on the floor. and nobody had ever talked to him that way. And the problem is as a consultant, the reason I was able to grow dealerships to the big numbers because I could shut a door on a dealer and say things their employees were afraid to say to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could say, "What the hell are you thinking?" And I could hit a dealer right between the eyes with the truth. And that was my strength as a consultant all these years. And the reason I grew dealerships to the big numbers and can still do it is because I will go in with a power posture. I won't even take a deal unless I can tell the general manager what to do.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, you first of all, is your process a good process? That's the first question that needs to be answered as a dealer. Is your process a good process? Number one. That's very important. And so I'll settle for B2B plus, right? So if I have a B2B plus strategy / process, to me, that's good enough. The second question that needs to be answered is, what is the percent of execution of said process? And it's got to be pretty darn close to 100%. And if it's not, then we're going to suffer. I'll take an A process and execute it at 50% versus a B process executed at 90%, and I will crush you. It won't even be a contest because good enough is good enough. And so when we don't like our results, we got to go back and look at the process, number one, and the execution of said process, number two, or the combination of those two. And you'll find that in that journey, that we're just not doing the process. We're not doing the process, and that's it. End of discussion. And so what's the answer to that? Training. And at some point it's like, okay, it's time to move on. This is not for you. It's time to move a different direction because this is just not going to work. Because
I got a saying that you say you said it first. I'm gonna call bullshit. Average people with great processes can yield incredible results.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Average people with great processes. That's a Ziegler a real original.
Probably not, but I agree with it. Take credit for it. I think it's 100% spot on.
30 years ago.
Now, bullshit. You're full of shit. But at any rate, the fact is that if we take an average process and a great person, we're going to get average results. So we don't want average. Average would be a C. We want to have at least B to B plus. And it'd be great if we can get A. That's great. But it's the execution that's the issue. It's always going to be the issue.
I got another saying. Average is the exact point where sucks starts.
Where sex starts?
Insanity.
Did you say sex? Did you say sex or sucks?
No, average is the exact point where sucks starts.
Oh, bullshit. That's not true.
You are the leader of the sucks.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Average people
are already badly behaved, but you are.
You want to prove me wrong on that? What's the average? What's the average batting average? What's the batting average in the Major League Baseball right now? Jim, come on, Mr. Braves.
I have no idea.
Well, average in the Major League Baseball gets about 10 million a year. Okay, so it's okay. It's okay. Average is okay, but let's not stay at average. Let's move it above average, but let's not stay there. But don't say you're giving me stupid absolutes, which is just not true. If I can get this thing to average, I'm on my way. I'll take average. But it's the Japanese philosophy, constant and never-ending improvement. So if I'm at average.
I don't take average.
You talk a lot of shit.
You're full of crap. Yes, you do.
Jim shit-talking show.
We really do. We all take.
Average can go to work for you.
That's an absolute. You're full of shit.
Let's talk. Let's get us back on track here, okay?
I'm with you.
Process and execution are the two most important things. And any great franchise, whether we're talking about sports or we're talking about McDonald's, has a process that has to be executed on. The difference and the key piece and ingredient that has to be there for those two pieces to work is buy-in from your people and your management staff to understand why we have a process and why it must be executed on 100% of the time. And I'm going to use the most average of average jobs with the average of average employees to prove my point. A guy who works at McDonald's who makes fries all day, every day, all day, every day. If he doesn't follow the process, you go up to McDonald's and order your fries. What are you going to get? You're going to get burnt fries. Are you going to go back to McDonald's and keep buying burnt fries? No, you're not. You have to have a process that says, here's what I do, here's how I do it, and you have to then execute on it.
Yeah.
You know that it works. Every franchise that
Yeah,
is
you're-
in existence, it
You're
works.
preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir. There's absolutely no question about it. You're right on the money. You're 100% spot on. The bottom line is it's either going to be a bad process, which is your own damn dumb fault, or it's going to be poor execution, which is the leadership fault. And it does fall back on your shoulders as a dealer, because why the hell are you letting that go on? You defined the process, you created it, you know what it is, or you stole from Jim Ziegler, whatever you did. But why are you letting your people not do the process that we know works? It's just bullshit. This is going to stop today. This is a new day. We do the process today, and we're going to train on it. So we'll spend some time doing that. And then we're going to check to make sure you did the process. And if you didn't do the process, we're going to retrain you. We're going to keep training, and we'll grind the living shit out of you. We'll just grind you. We're not putting up with mediocrity in that regard. No.
So why do you think the majority of dealers, I just want to lean into that a bit. Why do you think the majority of dealers allow to not have the process followed, whether it be the managers not holding accountable or
they're average,
not following it?
Because they're average.
Stop it, Jim. I think they probably don't really understand the essence of the mathematical game and the law of averages and the numbers and the consequences. And I just don't know that they really have thought it through the whole way through. We preach this a lot in our program called Rethink You. You got to really think it through the whole way through. What is the end game going to look like? And if we keep on going in this direction, the end game's going to get ugly. It's going to get really, really ugly. So we need to think about that and keep rolling on the idea of constant and never-ending improvement is one thought about that. And the idea that things get better when I get better. It's like, whoa, wait a second. What if that's true? What if things did get better when I get better? Well, then I got to work on getting better, hence training. And so we just keep working on getting better. That's why we have 20 groups and think tanks and all these things. So we come back with a new idea. Let's put it in play. Another new idea. Let's put it in play. And we keep working on getting better and better and better. The results improve. And then we just keep going. But it's the Japanese are very, very, it's like for them, it's a religious commitment, constant and never ending improvement. I think it's called Kazon or something like that. But it's powerful stuff. And if we all did that, if we did that with our marriages, if we did that with our health, if we did that with our business, if we did that with any relationships we have, just let's work on getting better. I think I can do better. And if we do get better, the results improve.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I want to jump in here for a second because I like the sports analogy. And I can tell you that Jim, who is one of my mentors, one of my closest friends, actually taught me this years ago, and I use it a lot. But in talking about baseball, in both baseball and in the automotive industry, performance metrics like a batting average and sales effectiveness, they're crucial. Both fields use the metrics to refine their strategies, improve operations, and stay competitive. Essentially, tracking these numbers helps teams and businesses to optimize their performance. So just as in sports, where players spend a significant amount of time practicing between games to refine their skills and processes, the same principle applies in our industry, and it's often missed. It's not just about making sales. It's about honing the processes that lead to those sales, like customer interactions, service efficiency, follow-ups. This kind of continuous improvement in processes ensures that when it's game time, meaning interacting with customers, the team is well prepared to perform their best. I'm mixing my words today. Can you tell I'm tired? But I remember when Kansas City won the playoffs? Let's not judge me on my sports analogy here. Do you remember when the streets flooded before that? People shut down. Vin Solutions shut down that day, and everybody went out and celebrated it. Because here's the thing: if you don't celebrate every single win, every single play, even when it's practice, then you're always on the side of the mindset of I just lost and I have a month to reset. It's a huge deal. And when I first started consulting before, after 20 years in the automotive side, Jim gave me a baseball analogy, and I still use it in all of my training, which is what we're doing is like baseball. We don't win games with home runs. We win games with base hits, with teamwork, and with development. And that is the truth. It's the easiest way to compare it. But Jim has always taught me that average is not an acceptable thing to be at. It's not what it is. It's where you can start, but it's not where you can stay.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Jim's wrong in his wording. I think he's right in his mentality. Oh, stop it! I think he's wrong in his wording. And hold on, the idea is average is really, really good. Let me ask you a question. So to prove you wrong from a change, you old fart. if I was losing, so I'm an F, right? I'm a D.
Right.
If as a leader I can get that F or D to a C, which is average, that's a pretty damn good job. So I disagree with you. Average is good relative to that particular individual. Hold on, quit shaking your head. You're not even listening. Open your ears and listen. So let's work. Shut up. Let's
You don't
work.
need to
Listen.
be a wrestler.
Let's take this average guy that we got from D to C, and let's just work on moving him to B. And like the ladies just said, it's okay. It's a great place to be. It's not a great place to stay. So we can move it to a B. We can move it to a B plus. We can move it to an A with the Jim Ziegler training per se. But I'm telling you what, when you get a person, you get a sales team that's failing. And this is a absolutely CPA accounting. Tell me I'm wrong. If I'm losing money as a business, what's my most important goal? I'm losing money every month. What's my most important goal, Jim?
Evidently to make more money.
Upgrade
No,
your
I'm losing money. The most important goal is to break even. That's the goal. Let me get it to break even. Hold on. No, I'm no longer losing money. I'm no longer bleeding. If I have a cut, I got to stop the bleeding. So I get the bleeding stopped. I get it under control. And then I bring in a guy like Jim Ziegler for a second visit and say, okay, we got it to break even. Now let's get it to making money. But
Jim,
when you're losing money, making money is just too far out of the way. It is.
Jim, I was in a 20 group meeting one time, and it was Toyota dealers, I believe. And anyway, one dealer kept disputing everything I said. That's not the way we do it. That's not the way we do it. And I said, I told the moderator, so let me see the book a second. Turn to the performance page. And, in 20 group, it's left side of the book, right side of the book.
Exactly. Right side, left side. Yep.
Which one of these dealers are you? And he showed me way on the left side of the book. I said, yeah, here's a dealer I consult on the other side of the book.
Right.
Losers defend losing.
Well, yeah, that's an absolute. That's an absolute. You're right. And too often it is the case where it's like the crab. You heard the crab in a bucket story where the crab's in a bucket. A bunch of crabs are swimming in. Crab tries to get out, and the crabs are pulling him back down in. So yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I just know that personally, losing is not acceptable. And if I am losing, and I was bankruptcy imminent. I needed to get it to break even. I figured that out. I got it to break even. It's okay. I got to break even. I actually worked on lowering my break even point, and I did that. And so I got it to where I was okay. I'm not bleeding anymore. And then I went back to work on producing max revenue, minimal expenses, and I hit it out of the park. But if you don't have your financial house in order,
your dealerships when you turned them over to the kids, when you moved on. I mean, the dealerships were just incredible, and they still are. I mean,
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
The Shorty organization is well known, and you're mostly in Pennsylvania. Is that all in Pennsylvania?
Well, again, I'm not involved with this. It's mostly in Pittsburgh, but there's dealerships in Georgia.
Mm-hmm. There's dealerships.
Right. Yeah. And in Ohio as well. So they're rock stars. I mean, it was 2016, and it was very evident to me that they were stronger.
Have the kids improved the company since you turned it over?
10x.
10x, very good. That's what I wanted to hear.
10x, yeah, it's incredible.
So
but
they're not as good as you think you are.
Well, I think.
For some reason, I knew you were setting him up to just.
I know, I did too.
I said, yeah, you better pack your lunch, man, because you don't know what you're talking about. The fact is, no, you didn't hit nothing out of the park. You better pack your lunch, dude. Let me tell you something. The mark of a true leader is the legacy.
Yep.
And so the fact that these kids have 10x the business is a statement about my leadership capabilities.
You're 100% right. I want to jump in, Jim, because here's what I wanted to say about the average thing, and it has to do with that. Is you had made mention, you had said, what if your salespeople are failing? Well, if you're failing, it's the leader's fault. I don't care what anybody says.
No question. No question.
It starts there. And I've worked with your stores personally, so I hear what you're saying, and I'm glad that you're defending that. I do want to throw out this, though, when it comes to the average part, and I'm usually pretty open to this as a trainer myself who does high performance culture. I get it. But when we think about average, it's like today we have a highly competitive automotive industry. It's
No doubt.
Meeting the basic sales targets, it's not enough to sustain a business or grow. And a C grade might denote average, but in sales, the level of performance could actually signal a lack of innovation, insufficient customer engagement, potential stagnation. To truly thrive, a dealership needs to exceed expectations. They have to continually innovate their sales tactics, and they have to deliver exceptional customer service. So settling for average isn't just insufficient, it's a missed opportunity for development and a competitive advantage. That doesn't mean that a salesperson who's selling an average amount of vehicles or creating an average amount of engagement isn't doing a decent job for them as a human where they are, because not everybody has the same level of ability, motivation, drive. But as a dealership, as a leader in a dealership, I don't want to miss targets. So I'm going to give every opportunity, whether it's training, resources, technology, products, support, to help lift and motivate somebody into a high performance culture. And at the end of the day, they might not be a good fit for my dealership. That doesn't mean they're not a salesperson. They also might be a great salesperson who's not a good fit for my leadership.
Yeah.
Bobbie, I gotta say, there's 4 E's in Zieglerism. And I developed this when I was a manager myself. The first E of Zieglerism is evaluate.
Yes.
You've got to measure the sales force individually. I got to measure it. Evaluate.
Yeah.
Educate. Educate is the next E of Zieglerism. Evaluate, educate. Mm-hmm. And the next one is elevate. Bring them up to another standard. So the first 3 E's of Zieglerism, there's 4 of them, is evaluate, educate, elevate, or exterminate.
Right.
Well, but so hold on. Are you recording this conversation?
Of course.
Of course, you're live on
you play back for me right now when I said that average was acceptable. You play that back for me right now. I never said that. I never said that. I said average is a great goal when you're sucking water. Average is a great goal when you're bleeding. Let's get to average. Let's stop the bullshit. Let's get to average, and then let's work on average plus. So average is a C. So we got it to a C. We did that. Now they and us as a leadership team should have the confidence to say, well, if we moved it from a D to a C, we ought to be able to move it to a B. Let's go to work. Let's roll our sleeves up. Let's get to work. Now we got it to a B. So I didn't say anything about accepting average as a goal. I never said that. What I said was it's a starting point for a lot of people. And if you talk to your CPA, when you're losing money, a great goal is to get to break even.
I don't think that's what he said. What he said was you have to know your metrics. What he said was
absolutely agree.
Right, but nobody's saying that you said something different. So just like you told him in the beginning, you got to listen.
I am. Yeah, he did.
What is okay? Well, I'm wrong. So you two knock it off, and then let's go.
I never said that. Average is definitely not acceptable. It's just a starting point, and let's move it to excellent. That's that. I think we're saying the same thing. Let's get it to excellent to the best of our abilities. We're not going to settle for average, but average is okay in the event that we're really losing big. So let's get like some of these teams out there from your conversations, like they're woe is me and all that. Well, hell, they're obviously performing at below average. Let's get them to average, and then from there, let's coach them on to above average. If that makes sense.
It's about realistic expectations and realistic goals. Because here's the problem: if you take a guy who has been selling cars for 6 months and he averages, his average is 6 cars a month, right? And you say, hey, you suck. You need to be selling 15 cars a month. Yeah. To that guy, that's unattainable. That's unattainable.
Yeah, agreed. I agree.
Get rid of that guy. Well, what if I can get him from 6 cars to 8 cars? We set a realistic goal.
There you go. There you go.
And then next month we go from 8 to 10. You know, the ones that bother me more where they're the average Joes is the guy who goes from 8 cars one month, 15 cars the next, 8 the next, 15 the next. Yeah. Because that's a guy that can sell 15 who is choosing to not sell 15.
Oh,
those to me are a bigger problem.
April, that is so good. That's in Zieglerism, that's called a nut mentality. We have
But you're
sales
right.
people that
But
they want
but
to work
to go
for
back
their
to the
net.
Kaizen, yeah, it's about continuous improvement. I don't
Pay
care
your
if you're
bills.
average today, if you're working on getting better. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're the best today, if you're destroying my team. Here's another one. If
Yeah.
you have one home run guy on your team and everybody else is quote unquote average, your problem is your home run guy. He's holding back everyone else on your team. Because I guarantee you, if your team looks like that, you have cancer that you're not recognizing or realizing. And I had this happen at a store before where they were like, April, we have to move one person. Who are you going to choose? And I picked my top performer, and they thought, well, you're crazy. This person sells 15 plus cars every single month. I said, you know what? But I guarantee you that with that person gone off my team, everyone else on my team sells 2 to 3 more. Guaranteed.
Yep.
April.
Getting rid of
That person, you got to measure how many ups they processed, because what you got with a home run guy or home run woman is what I call an MFUW. MFUW.
I think that means what I can
stand for up waster.
Well, but more importantly, crapping out the team, right?
Wait,
Like,
everybody didn't get that.
everyone else around
Letters stand for up waster.
Be careful there, because that may not be true. Make sure, like you said, evaluate. And I know you're serious about that, but let's evaluate this guy. And then when we find out that he's,
just said, find out how many ups they processed.
oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch up. But yeah,
I did say that. How many ups?
let's evaluate him before we decide that he's doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We don't know that till we evaluate him. But if he's taking 60 ups a month and he's selling 15 cars, we got a problem.
Yeah,
That's not a good number.
Blowing out the
following like that.
If he's
I believe
blowing
train
out the
transfer
ups that could have been made. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that up waster that's blowing out deals that could have been made. He's qualifying. Salespeople do not have the option to qualify and release a customer without a manager saying goodbye. Nobody talks until nobody walks and talks.
Yeah.
Until the woman talks.
They do have the option of doing that, and they have the option also of going home with a customer. That's the option that they have. We're just not going to put up with that. We're not interested. We're just not. Like, this is what we want you to do, and we want you to try as hard as you can. And when we sense that you're not trying, like you said, kicking a customer out, blowing them off, whatever, that's just no way to treat a customer, and we all know that. And so we're not putting up with it. And if you're a 15 car a month guy, that's great, that's wonderful. But you're a cancer. So we got to get to the part of that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if you want to transform your team thinking about a high performance culture, regardless of what method you use to do it, you have to consistently evaluate the results beyond just sales figures within the controllables. You have to provide the ongoing training in all the facets of the business. You have to foster a culture of recognition and continuous improvement. And that approach ensures they not only meet and exceed expectations, but it drives the dealership's success. I follow a policy of, similar to what Jim says, train, transfer, terminate. Once somebody is evaluated, do they need training? Do they need to be transferred, meaning either to a different position or a different leader, because that can restrict you? Or do we need to terminate? That is a policy that it's not an immediate decision, but it follows the facets of what everybody is saying, and it's the truth. I can't
exactly, Bobbie.
I can't look at somebody, you sell 10 cars a month, you're average, or you're great, or you're this, and I'm going to let you go. I will tell you, if I think you're a cancer, you're off my team. I don't care what you sell, because you will.
Bobbie, I think I taught you that.
You did teach me that, and I've successfully used it. I mean, I look at it and say, I want to first evaluate the metrics. I could have a terrible manager on the desk, and it could be the reason you're delivering 5 cars instead of 20. Who's buddy with somebody who's delivering 30, it's got a house mouse running around. But what I want to look at when you're underperforming, in my opinion, is I want to look at how many opportunities you had for conversations, what you turned them into, what happened to them. But here's my biggest thing with a sales team and a manager. You can't know where you're going or where you're going to get if you don't know where you're actually at. So lying to your CRM, not being honest about it will not help you. I want to know in sales, how many conversations did it take for me to turn it into a true opportunity? And from there, what did I do with it in each of those buckets? As a person and as a trainer and as a consultant, that's what I look at. And I can tell you it's the most significant thing that I can teach a group of managers is KPIs and not just what they were shown before, so that the investment into their people goes into the right spot regardless of what the manager thinks. I don't care what you think the problem is. I want the data so that we know. And then I want you to put all those things in place in order to effectively create a high-performing team that doesn't have any cancer on it. Period.
And, you know, Bobbie, just to comment on what you said to me just now was just completely foreign from the aspect of it's so automatic with me that I don't even think about it. So like everything you said is like, you know, it's almost like, who doesn't know this? Who doesn't understand? It's so, to me, it's like, well, you got to put the key in the ignition and then you got to turn that little thing. Yeah, no shit. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm 100% with you. But the people that don't know this, it's like, well, what do you know? Like we have to have good metrics. We have to have good numbers. We have to be able to analyze those numbers. We have to, like, I'm going to lie to the CRM. You are? What are you telling me? Like, well, why would you do that? That's ridiculous.
I'll tell you why they do that. PTSD from previous dealerships. PTSD from a dealership who explained to them that the closing percentage is all that mattered. So they learned how to manipulate the plan is written that way.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You know, April. You know, April. While Shirky's putting the key in the ignition, I'm going to get close to it with my fob. But anyway.
Let me know when you get to me. You think you're getting to me? Listen. You can get to right here, but you can't get inside here. That's impossible.
You invited this nonsense. I'm telling you.
You can't listen. You can't get to me. You just can't. But you know what? It's very, very interesting though. I lost my train of thought. I guess you did get to me, huh, Jim?
Neurodivergent versus neurotypical. This is why you think the other way. This is exactly one of those things. I'm going to throw this out real quick. I don't care if you believe, and I don't mean you guys, I mean in general, in ADHD, autism, anything. I don't care what your belief is. Science shows that that's a real thing. But neurotypical and neurodivergent brains work very differently in the way that we share and communicate information, including the inability to understand why somebody else would do something a certain kind of way. You know to share the knowledge, but you forget to share the steps because they're auto-processed in your mind.
Yeah. That's a problem. You're right. That's a problem.
And I'm a neurodivergent, so I understand that, which is why April is killer and Jennifer is killer at neurotypicaling the things that I say so that it's understandable for another person. And likewise, but we have to recognize that in our teams as well and in our leaders that people do not learn or understand things the way that we communicate them. They learn and understand the way they process. So we have to change our delivery in order for them to understand.
Okay, guys, we got 2 minutes left as we wind down the program. I'm sure people have seen the cartoon in the newspapers and wherever you get cartoons. Broomhilda. And in the cartoon Broomhilda, there's a log with 2 eyeballs in it. You never see the face. And it's called the Grebbler. And the Grebbler has a little sign outside the log that says free insults. And that Grebbler is actually Jim Shorkey.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't even know what you're talking about. You talk so much bullshit. You don't even know what you're talking about.
As we get down to the last 2 minutes with the guy that still puts keys in ignitions, as we get down to the last 2 minutes, this has been a really fun show. It didn't turn out the way we planned it, but Shorkey came.
That's called the Jim Shorkey factor.
I'm going to update the posts to reflect it because I think that this is a very engaging conversation.
It was engaging. Old fart came he was on the sidebar, and I said, "Why'd you get on the show?" So he came.
I love it, man. I love it. I really do. I love the car business. I love talking about the car business. I love you, ladies and gentlemen. I use that word loosely. I apologize, but you know what I mean. But I love you guys. I really do. It's just the car business is such a vibrant business, and if you're not winning at this business, whose fault is that, for crying out loud? I mean, come on. It's really not that hard to win at the car business. It's really not. It's fundamentals.
Jim, that place you're in right now, is that your home? Are you at home?
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, because that beard looks like you might be homeless.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not homeless. So I'm not homeless yet, but you never know.
Jim Shorkey is here with us. I put in the
comments.
comments.
Probably squatting in somebody's house squatting in somebody's house and you actually live on a tent, the sidewalk. You got a tent.
You two are so silly. I love to see this. Nobody goes bat to bat with Jim like this in a fun, respectful way. So it is.
He's
funny.
not. Listen, he's not even in my
Like,
league. He's not even in my league. He knows it intuitively. He won't admit it because his ego is the size of Manhattan.
You guys have that in common?
Not in my league. Not in my league. Not in my league.
Love me dearly.
We got to go off air soon. I put your website in the comments of all of the posts, but you want to throw it out real quick?
What's it again? I'm sorry.
You want me to tell you?
I'm sorry. My website?
Correct.
You mean for the dealership or for my personal thing I'm doing?
For your personal thing you're doing.
Oh, it's Results from Thinking. Results from Thinking, all one word, .com.
It's in the
Everybody
comments.
wave goodbye to the audience.